done through independent channels or trying to do your own thing. It seems like the last few years, artists seem to be getting the leg up with independent industries opening up for entire industries. Indie was the future, but now it is the default for working class or middle class artists. This default setting is set up on hard difficulty mode not only for artists who have to become their own marketing team, but have to worry about AI and meeting basic needs. I could deep dive into this issue on a particular topic, as I feel as an artist that I have to bear most of the current problems put on us artists. Funding, marketing, and AI is a constant we all have to fight on our own, and that's normal because artists have always fought alone or in groups of other artists with a few collaborators from other fields. Everything is placed on our shoulders and we bear it. So I feel like when it comes not only to marketing but also fan engagement, I believe the audience needs to start taking some responsibility on their part. As an artist and also a general enthusiast, I've always believed in organic growth. The idea that an artist who puts in enough time into his craft, makes good art, and does some decent marketing, that word of mouth can occur. Word of mouth is still a real thing, but for the last few months, I learned most of it is manufactured. Chaotic Good is a marketing agency that works for multiple artists that you may or may not know, such as Two Hollis, Meggy, Nitsped, The Help, Keys, Dijon, Samba, and so much more. Chaotic Good doesn't buy out thousands of billboards, organize interviews, or does guest appearances on sitcoms for their artists. I mean, they probably do, but what they mainly specialize is what made everyone become more self-aware and uncomfortable about. On every social media platform, there's meme accounts and fan accounts with each individual or varying groups of people, but they found out that a small portion of these decent sized accounts are all under Chaotic Good. When you put it into perspective that there are marketing agencies doing this, then there are more than half of these accounts are just owned by companies. The idea of companies buying up meme and fan accounts pages for marketing products or artists isn't new, but what is new is that most of it is hidden, especially in the indie scene where organic growth is what makes the indie scene unique. Marketing in the indie scene exists, but most of it is focused on the craft or is done honestly. So seeing that the indie environment, even though it is debatable if indie even exists, especially with the death of mainstream, is slowly losing the word of mouth and organic growth charm that it had. I mean, the word of mouth exists, but it's just louder from a few minorities on an online space that are paid to do it. This is not only concerning on the music industry, but every industry needs to be considered because it is a form of marketing. Proves to be good, then you might live in a dead internet with anonymous accounts trying to sell you something alongside bots.
There's so much pressure on the artist. How much are they posting? Have they posted today? Why haven't they posted? You know, the whole thing. And I think for us as managers, our job is to support the artist. We were used to sort of throwing our hands up and thinking, well, if they're not driving it from their page, then, you know, what can we do?
Someone who believes their success is somehow less authentic or invalidated in some kind of way by that association with Chaotic Good.
I think that anxiety is real, and I think that does explain the emotional resonance of this story. But I would just remind people, at some point, the rubber needs to meet the road. At some point, a band needs to be able to sell at a club. At some point, you need fans that are loyal enough that they're going to stick with you as you go from record to record. And I do think that is driven by taste.
That lacks funds to even properly market anything I make, especially my last game, College World. Other than the obvious issues that the game is my first game and it's not as good in comparison to the competition, I can still use its marketing and a launch as an example. I pretty much ran a single TikTok account posting as many shorts with gameplay without narration because I don't really enjoy talking that much. I just thought I had to spam a few clips with fancy taglines and put a good pop song over it. But quickly started to learn more about marketing, learning to present your product and make it seem natural. Naturalism is in marketing is what gets the person to pay attention and do something. But if the corporation doesn't, so big corporations have to be either creative or scummy, and with Chaotic Good, a little bit of both.
That their theory that they created was wrong, they admitted it makes me not like the movie as much. I get disappointed because I think I'm right and then I'm proven wrong. Specifically, I remember they were talking about Avengers Endgame and everyone was speculating about that. I don't think I was necessarily speculating. I just wanted to see how it ended. But I remember they made so many videos trying to speculate, like, here's how Endgame is going to resolve and here's what's going to happen and here's the plot and everything like that. And then when it didn't happen, they walked away like just really upset. They were like, I put so much time and energy into making these theories and they're not true. And now I feel cheated out of a movie that I made up in my head that I wanted to see.
Even when artists can develop a fan base, either through word of mouth or meme marketing tactics to get people to notice you, there remains the issue that we have lost the general ethic of being an audience, as people have a tendency to treat artists like they're slaves to their perspectives and desires. I became more aware of this when I came across Nerd Cynic's video, which is a clip from a live stream reading an article about how Pitts fans don't know how to watch TV. The conversation is about how fans don't know how to discuss or analyze the show even on the surface, but engage in fan theory crafting and mystery solving as a substitute. This is not new, but it highlights that the audience has lost the ability to grapple basic narrative and artistic or technical elements as to discuss them appropriately. Crafting their own narratives alongside the story being told is not only a form of media illiteracy, but also shows some form of self-centered projection. Our generation, partly due to social media, struggles to see things in other people's perspectives but expect their reality to be the reality. This issue has always existed in every generation, but our generation is worse in this mindset. Every story needs to either cater to their needs and wants, and having preferences isn't a bad thing. Using preferences as the only way to navigate finding or engaging with art is not only narrow-minded, but will make your experiences pretty bad or not as engaging as you would want it to be. Engaging with art is a relationship with a creator that is both intimate and requires vulnerability and empathy. You can't expect to encounter a character who can't relate to, or a narrative that feels disconnected to your life and choose to call it bad if you never give it a chance to impress upon you. Watching a movie, listening to music, and reading is a vulnerable act that requires attention and reflection. That attention is directed to the narration, melodies, and the image before you, not on the story you tell yourself of what it is. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little daydreaming or seeing a part of a story or narrative that allows you to build your own ideas and the little stories. Art is meditative exercise that nudges the faculties of the mind, and that activity must be embraced for the holistic experience. The problem is that people take that activity and experience to try and pass as media analysis or substitutes for the discussion of the primary message and experience. It's almost as if readers want to be the writers while the words are being read and are now slowly transforming into his own thoughts that are no longer the interpretation of the text, but his or her own fan story that will never be told. This problem has gotten to the point that Noah Weil, aka the Librarian, comments on this issue, and I believe other creators are becoming aware of the issue. We are so fucked.
Hey friend, listen up. I know the world is scary right now, but it's gonna get way worse.
I don't really know whether to give up or just keep doing what I'm doing, but if you see this video uploaded, then I think I'll just keep making games and possibly try to write comics and books. As an artist, I love art. I mean, all kinds of art. That's why I made the channel. Not only so I can create a platform to show my work, but also to fanboy over my favorite stuff. Media critique is something I developed not only in high school, but spent so much time reading and watching movies. I will try to apply these techniques in my failed original stories I will write as a teen but never published or shown anyone. There were bad stories, incomplete comics, mind maps or concept sheets, all concept character sheets that littered my notebooks. I made stuff that barely finished or just mediocre, so I had to learn how to analyze and understand the media that I'm interacting with before me so I can replicate the elements I like or find important. Being a game dev is even more difficult, especially solo, due to the multiple disciplines that you need to manage and get good at. It is a harrowing but a rewarding experience that most should probably experience. Don't worry, it's not torture. I mean, it is. The growing pains and joys of making art has to face the reality that audience lacks not only the tools but the willingness to find and engage with art. People treat art like quarter found on the side of the road or a random coincidence. They treat art like magic, which it is, but don't actually respect it, as finding good art isn't difficult as it seems. You need to wait for a viral trend, meme, or word of mouth to go out of your way to find new interesting art to enjoy. You don't need to wait for a viral trend, meme, or word of mouth to go out of your way to find new interesting art to enjoy. What if it's bad? Well, that's art. Bad art can be unpleasant, but it's still art, and experiencing it can be enjoyable and fulfilling. Art isn't about perfection, because if it is about then art wouldn't exist, and experiencing bad art isn't that bad. It can be boring, sad, or infuriating, but can be a unique learning experience in learning how to avoid bad art. Yeah, I think I missed a week to upload a video. Yeah, I did. Oh shit. But this video is gonna come out, and after that video, Dice is gonna come out. That I need to start reading it. No, I actually read it. I need to start writing it now, and I need to get it done as soon as possible so I can start editing it. And it won't be easy because I got a lot to say about the last season of Dice. Other than that,